example number 1. The chirps dataset gives the chirps in 1 minute and the associated temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. And from this dataset, which we have down over here on the bottom, we want to use the temperature as the response variable and then find the least squares line of best fit. So this dataset I have open here. I'm going to copy and paste this into our template here on the right. But we have a whole bunch of unneeded data. So I'm just going to get rid of all of this. Clear the contents. So we have our predicted values or residuals, a whole bunch of which are negatives. We have the histogram of it, which is slightly skewed to the left. But the line of best fit we can obtain from this regression tab on the bottom. We have our slope of 0.0523 and the y-intercept of 27.6284. We have a r-squared value coefficient of determination of about 76.33. So the scatter plot, if I were to graph these, the scatter plot would look like a straight line, but as you could see, it has some variation, so it's not fitting it that well, but it follows the overall trend at the very least. But we do need that line of best fit, so y hat is going to be equal to 27.6284 plus 0.0523x. And from this equation, we have the temperature as the y variable. And the x variable is those chirps in 1 minute. For this bottom question here, we want, using a 5% level of significance, test the significance of the association between the chirps in 1 minute and temperature. That is inside of this model inference tab here on the bottom. This gives us, we want the hypothesis test for it. So the hypothesis test, we can write it out in words or just use symbols. For this, I'm just going to use the symbols to write this. The conclusion, though, I'll write it out in actual words. What this means is that the slope beta is equal to 0 for the null hypothesis, and the alternative is that it is not equal to 0. That's what that means by if it's significant. So significant meaning, do we have a linear relationship, which is when the slope is not 0, or do we not have a linear relationship, which is when the slope is 0. Based upon this hypothesis test, we obtained a t-stat here of 4.399. And the p-value for the slope not being 0 is 0.0046. And I wrote too big to write that on that line, so I'll just write that down here. P-value of 0.0046. And we could write the conclusion of this, since we could see from this p-value that is naturally way less than a level of significance of 5%. And I'm just going to type this in here so it's a bit easier to type out than it is to completely write out by hand. At the 5% level of significance, we have evidence. Again, that's because the p-value is less than alpha. We have evidence to suggest that the linear association between chirps per minute and temperature is significant. Meaning, again, we have evidence to suggest that the slope is not 0 in this case. Thank you.